Second story is the husband and wife who asked the divorce, and the ex-husband, or some of the ex-husband, burned down the house. And unfortunately, the story is really being killed if it's the mother is caught.
Are you two together?
That's incredible. That was incredible.
It's the Jawshow, Season 3. A common satire podcast designed to save the world or possibly end it. Brought to you in part by Blue Steel Productions. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Check out my page for more info. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Join me every Friday at 3 p.m. here, live on the Jawshow. You can find us everywhere. Join my evil empire today. All right, welcome to the Jawshow. Bryan J Laverty and your friendly neighborhood Joshua here. I don't know. I forgot to change my name. Oops. Well, it is my show name at least, so I'd like to welcome you to the Jawshow today. We'll be talking about the global ghost hunt and also what I'll be doing during that time as well. So trying to do a couple different things. So kind of tell me a little bit about what the global ghost hunt is about.
The global ghost hunt is really about teams and locations coming together over 10 days and doing investigations on the locations that they selected and doing what they do best during their investigations. Global Ghost Hunt was really about the teams, but it was more about the locations. Everybody at the Global Ghost Hunt really feels like the locations are just every single year locations seem to be disappearing, and this was really about, yes, the teams are important, but we think the locations are just as important, if not more. If you don't have locations, you definitely don't have teams, right? So this was really about the preservation of the locations, and hopefully with some of the locations that are going to be part of the Global Ghost Hunt, it will give them a little more notoriety, I guess, in a way. And hopefully if people are watching and they see that location, they happen to be in that area, they can turn around and book that location if they want to investigate. Let's be honest, locations, it's not cheap to keep them up and going.
Right.
So this was really about the locations, yes, and the teams.
Right. And I know that it's a part of, it's not just in the United States, it's a global event as well. There's some stuff going on in the UK as well. And there's some stuff going on here in America, different time zones. Some people have pre-recorded their episodes because they had to do it early. Some are doing it during the live event, and there are varying different styles, different ways of investigating, different things they'll be using during their places and stuff like that. And one of the things that I'll be doing during the week of the Global Ghost Hunt, while you're doing it, I'll be investigating a haunted potato ricer and a haunted glass bowl that I will be trying different experiments for my first time doing basically my own ghost hunt of sorts.
That's
So
cool.
kind of
That's cool.
adding to the pile there. And I'm not officially a part of the global hunt this time, but next time coming in October this year,
Hopefully.
hopefully in October this year. When we put up those sign up, guys, don't forget to sign up really fast because those spots are probably going to go really, really quick, especially if we do a really good job this time.
Yes, yes. We're already getting teams signed up for October, so that's a good thing. We're hoping and expecting probably triple the amount that we have for the first one, and we got a lot of teams for the first one. So I think what people are liking the most about it, it's over 10 days, and they get to kind of pick which day they want to do their investigation. And there's going to be a lot of different things during the 10 days. It's just not about investigations. Yes, that's important, but we're also going to be doing a paracon. There's going to be a paracon on the first weekend of the Global Ghost Hunt. It's going to be between 12 Eastern and 6 p.m. Eastern. There's one of the admin staff, Jason, Southwest Para Abnormal. He's going to be there as a speaker, but he's also going to be filming the Wild West Paracon in Tombstone. So we're kind of partnering up with them as well. I thought it was really cool that they came to me and said, you know what, would you do this? And I said, of course, let's do it. It's something different. It's just not about yes, it's about the investigations, but there are going to be other things included as well.
Like you said, the locations are the stars here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and they're the ones because, like you said, without a place, without us to have that ability to do it in a safe way, within a respectful way, that we can go communicate with these spirits, so we can get the answers that we need. Without those places, there's no need for investigators. Or there are people who are taking dangerous things in their own hands. They're taking on things they don't know what they're walking into. They don't know if the ground's going to fall out from underneath them. We don't want people doing that. We want them to do it in a nice, safe way, not only seeking the evidence, but also highlighting why these places are important in the first place. It's about the history. It's about the event that happened. It's about the history of everything that we have. We're witnessing history, communicating with these spirits.
Of course. Of course.
And I know that there are a lot of different teams that are doing. You've got a full schedule out there on globalghosthunt.com. So if someone wants to come see what the actual schedule is like, it's out there right now. You guys can go view it and see it. All your information is there, guys. So don't be afraid to go check that out right below globalghosthunt.com. Right there. There it is, right there. So I guess I want to find out a little bit more about the journey of why a worldwide event. Why have? Because we want more than just America represented. We want the UK represented. We want other places too. Hey, we would love to have something in other countries as well.
Yeah. Well, I think you're kind of answering your own question, right? And and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do it too, because there are so many fabulous locations around the world that a lot of people out here in America and Canada, North America, are just not seeing. For example, we have Australia that's going to be part of it. And I've never heard of this place that is being investigated. It's called the Clive Cottage. So I'm very, very interested in seeing that. We're also, Ireland's involved. So we're having an investigation out in Ireland as well. And so there's going to be locations from all over, and people are going to be able to see these locations and go, wow, that's a fantastic spot, and then it gives it a way that if somebody goes over to Ireland and said, remember what we saw in Global Ghost Hunt, let's see if we can get in there. Or if they're in Australia, the exact same thing. We just want to showcase all these fabulous locations around the world that are just not getting the recognition that they deserve. Like we have a place that's in the States that I'd never heard of. I'd never heard of Victorian View. And it looks like a fantastic location. Right. And I've never heard of the Claiborne House. And that's another location that's going to be investigated. And I believe that's on the 11th. I've never heard of the Bullion Plaza. I've never heard of Dumas Brothel. And people are going to get the opportunity to see these locations live,
Right.
and that's what it's about. And hopefully we will have these locations booked up solidly over the next year so they can continue doing what they do best, and that's having people come and see their locations.
Right.
And it's just not about the spirits, it's about the history as well.
Right.
We have another location that I'd never heard of. Now, keeping in mind, I'm in Canada, so
Right.
we don't hear a lot about, like, I hear about the popular spots like Penhurst and Waverly Hills and the Hinsdale House and, the Conjuring. Those are the real popular houses or places. But there's locations that I've never heard of that are going to be part of this that I think people are really, really going to be interested in seeing. Like we have, I can't recall the name of it. It's the Museum of Radio and Technology.
Right.
I'd never heard of this place,
Right.
but it's going to be featured on the Global Ghost Hunt, and it's great. And one thing that I'm very, very proud of is, yes, we're doing the Tombstone Paracon, but we're going to be in a location that nobody's allowed in.
Right.
And Jason's going to be investigating, I believe it's called the Shefflin Hall. And nobody's allowed in there. Not even the biggest investigators that are on TV are allowed in there, but Global Ghost Hunt is going to be.
Well, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, so that's incredible. I'm very proud of a lot of the stuff that myself and the admin team have done. And it's just not me, it's the admin team as well,
Right.
that have done such a wonderful job over the last year. So, and it's not very long away, right? So
Right.
next Thursday, I guess.
Thursday. So
Yeah.
I have a question of what kind of inspired this idea? What kind of gave you this idea to do in the first place? What was the inspiration behind it?
Well, I was with another one, and I won't get into the name of the other one, but I was with them. And I was only with them probably for about a month and a half. And I just felt over time it just wasn't for me. I didn't like the antics that were going on behind the scenes that unfortunately people don't see. And that's just being honest.
Right.
So I spoke to a friend of mine about creating my own, but I wanted to do it differently. I wanted to do something that they're not doing. For example, theirs was over 24 hours, mine's over 10 days. I find that the doing it that way, it really restricts the investigation team on how much they can do, because my main focus was, I just felt like an hour wasn't enough. I find that when people are going to a location, the first hour you're really feeling out the place. You're trying to figure out what you're going to use, what you're going to do. You're setting up your equipment and all those things. So in the first hour, you're really doing that. It's the second hour where you really get into the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt that 2 hours for the teams was better than 1 hour.
Right.
And with saying that, I had to do it longer than, let's say, 24 hours. Because doing it for 2 hours for each team, the 24 hours is going to be gone very, very quickly. And then you got to think of time differences and, all that stuff. Like we have Australia that is 12 hours ahead of us.
Right.
And then we have UK and Ireland that's 5 hours ahead of us.
Right.
And then you have Arizona, which is 3 hours behind us.
Right.
I'm talking Eastern here. And so it was just a lot of different time zones as well. So I'm glad I did it for 10 days. And that gave the opportunity for more teams to join as well.
Right.
So I think what's going to end up happening, and I've talked about this on previous shows, depending on how many teams we have for the second one, we might make it 21 days instead of, well, maybe not 21, maybe more like 18 or 19 days compared to 10 days. So depending on how many teams we have, we might extend it a little bit further than just 10 days.
Right. So, along with I know that I feel your inspiration. Well, I guess what kind of was the drive that the locations you wanted them to be the important, the investigators second, were there any spirits or ghosts that people were, or spirits or think ways of communicating that they wanted to be able to bring onto this show? What was the collaboration like with other teams involved? Are there going to be some viewer participation involved?
Well, before I answer that one, and going back to your previous question, really, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was telling him these ideas, and he said, "Just do it." And that's really how Global Ghost Hunt started. Um, Now, for your second question, um, if you can ask me that again, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that question? Sorry.
Like like what I'm saying is, okay, so that we've got the locations, we've got those that we know that those are standalone places, we got the investigation,
Yeah.
people investigating those places. Were there any specific kind of activity that we were hoping to get, or are we trying to do trying to get anything that we are trying to get from the other side? Are we trying to get some answers here? What's
Mm,
kind of the goal of
mm.
Global Ghost Hunt in a nutshell? What do we want to see the result as after this? What do you hope
Well,
to see it?
I'm not sure if it's necessarily catching anything or anything like that. Obviously, that's important, and people want to see that, I guess. Well, I know they do. So when people go on these locations, they're going to be able to see their investigations. I think it was more about the teams, and it
Right,
was more about the locations than really the end result of what they capture.
right,
Because I know a lot of these locations that are going to be investigated are haunted, and teams will get what they'll get. We might have a team that is going to a real haunted location, and they might not capture anything that night.
right,
It just might be one of those nights. And then we might have teams that are going to get a crap load of investigation. This wasn't really about what they're going to capture. This
right.
was more about the locations and the history and the preservation of these locations. Then that was more my goal,
Okay,
and about the teams and about showcasing these teams, because there are a lot of fantastic paranormal investigation teams out there that are not getting the recognition that they deserve. And so it was really about the teams and the locations, not necessarily what they capture, which will be fantastic if they capture some fantastic evidence. That's going to be really, really good for them. But the Global Ghost Hunt's focus was more on the locations and the teams, not necessarily what they capture.
well, the reason I'm asking that is because I know that the paranormal field is subjected to a lot of different people, and depending on whether people believe to certain degrees or don't believe to certain degrees, and
Mhm.
whether or not they want to be, involve themselves in having that moment. And I know that that's got to be a little bit about of it because it's called the global ghost hunt, not the global location hunt.
Yeah, yeah.
And we want to make sure that I just want to make sure that people know what they're going to get when they're coming to see the global ghost hunt, that they're going
Yeah.
to get that idea of what they can truly expect. Is there going to be any kind of live interaction or anything like that?
Well, I don't know. Well, obviously, with it being on StreamYard, the people are going to be able to talk to people on their hunt if they want to. That's completely up to them if they want to talk to somebody. Um, and I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Um, Interactive, obviously, if people are on StreamYard, you're going to be able to talk to the people, and it's going to, like I said, it's going to be completely up to them if they want to talk to those people during their investigation. I also think a lot of it has to do with, you might see a team in the UK that they might do stuff during an investigation that you didn't even realize existed.
Right.
So it was also about the unique style and techniques of all these different teams. Like, I was in the UK last year, and there were a couple of experiments during an investigation that I had never seen before. So people are going to be able to watch this other teams and maybe learn something from other teams, and how they approach an investigation, and that's important as well, because you might learn something during the 10 days that you go, wow, I really like that, I'm going to try that on an investigation.
Right.
And who's to say that wouldn't work for them? They could go out and get some amazing evidence by something they saw, an experiment. Because I know there is a team, she hasn't told me what she's doing, but Abyss Paranormal. They're planning to do. They're doing the general store in Cannery in Windyville, Missouri,
Uh-huh.
and they're planning on doing some experiments that people haven't seen before.
I was,
So that's going to be really cool to watch. And again, it's about learning. It's about learning from these teams.
right.
And I know we were talking about this before we came on air about the fighting and the drama and all that stuff. And and we're all supposed to be working together and learning from each other. And I think the Global Ghost Hunt is going to be a good representation for that. That we have all these teams that are basically working together and doing their investigation, and we're going to learn from one another.
Now, now I don't know if some teams will definitely have their own way of going about doing things, but will there be like a rundown of the history of some of these places and where you can contact them and how you can get involved? Book your own team. Will we be doing any kind of promotion
Yeah,
places?
yeah. Well, again, that's going to be up to the team on how they want to run their investigation.
Okay,
But in the description of each of the live, there will be the name of the place. There won't be necessarily any history on the place. Again, that's going to be up to the team
okay,
to do. But there will be some info in the description for each live investigation,
right. Just
and
into
where they are and stuff like that. So
right, because we were talking that the location seems to be the biggest part of the star here,
yeah.
and that's kind of why I was asking that question. Is if what people, I want to be able to go to this location. I want to be able to book this location and promote this location as well, because I know there are those places that are allowing us to come there too. They're opening up their places of business, their places of the livelihood too, and you know this experience could not only catapult not only other locations to want that to be a part of them, but they're getting the ability to get that real life interactive ability with their place somewhere down the line as well, right? And I know
Yeah.
that,
And I agree. I agree. Collectively, everything during the Global Ghost Hunt is, it's really about a lot of people having fun. And, I think sometimes us investigators take things too seriously
right,
at times. And really, it's about the locations, it's about the teams, but of course, it's about having fun too,
right.
you
And I know,
know. So
so what can we expect at the con? Is there anything that we can look forward to during the first con?
well, the con, from what I understand, there's going to be quite a few speakers. I don't know who the speakers are going to be. So, as far as I know, Jason, who's part of the admin team, he's going to be a speaker. So, what he's going to be doing during the Paracon, he's going to be showing some of the speakers that are going to be there. He's also going to talk to some of the vendors. He's going to walk around, interview people, and everything like that. And people can really learn about the Tombstone Wild West Paracon, because I believe it is the first one
Okay,
that they're having. So hopefully this will be a long partnership that will continue doing this every year with them. And they're really excited to be part of the Global Ghost Hunt. We're excited to be part of the Paracon. So I think 6 hours of watching Paracon should give plenty enough information to people that if they want to go out to the next one, because I think eventually I know they're doing one this year, but I think eventually they're going to be doing two a year.
right.
So
That's
one will be in May, like it is now, and then the other one is going to be around the Global Ghost Hunt in October, the same time. So I think we're going to be end up doing both of them,
okay.
which I think is going to be a lot of fun. And there's going to be a lot of different speakers. I don't know the speakers offhand. They haven't sent me the guest list.
Okay,
I will get that, and if I do get the guest list, then I'll put it up on Global Ghost Hunt page.
that's fair.
And then, but I'm sure you can go over to their site. I'm sure they have a list on who's going to be there. So it's
Right.
going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be something different, and that's what I like. And that's what I mean. Like when I first started doing this, I wanted to be completely different from the other one.
Right.
And I think this is a good start.
Right. Are there any locations that you're personally looking forward to?
Yes. I'm actually going to be on an investigation with one of the teams.
Okay.
And this place is on my bucket list, and that's Hinsdale House.
Okay.
So I'm definitely looking forward to going there. I would have to say, what's my other one? I would have to say I'm looking forward to SK Pierce Mansion is one I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the Collingwood Arts Center. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Bullion Plaza is about. To be honest, Joshua, I'm pretty well looking forward to all of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know that was kind of a loaded question, but
Yeah, I'm looking forward to all of them, to be honest.
I'm actually very excited myself about that. And one of the reasons that I wanted to do something myself to kind of do what I plan on doing during the 14 event that you're doing every
Yeah.
day between 6 and 7, I'm going to be investigating a haunted glass bowl and a haunted potato ricer that a friend of mine says is very haunted. And I have never done a ghost hunt before, so this will be my first attempt doing that.
So is it more because that's interesting. Do you
Right?
think it's more residual than actual intelligent?
From what I've gotten from this point, from just it being in my presence because it's in my room, kind of gathering, waiting for that event to happen.
Yeah.
I felt that there's been a presence there that's been more an intelligent, not a residual, because it seems like I seem to be getting like little ticks here and there through my intuitions and my abilities, So I'm kind of feeling that there's a more intelligent spirit behind it as well. It's not just trying to do the same thing over and over again. It's not more of a residual energy. It's more of a some residual, some intelligent.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't know anything about. I know more about the potato ricer than I know about the glass bowl. So that's kind of what it's going to be designed to find out. Finding out that information, trying a couple different techniques, trying to see if I can get the information. This person has not shared any of the history or anything with me so that I can go back later and go, hey, this is what I found during my investigation. Can you corroborate some of that? So,
Well, that will be interesting. You sure you want to do that over 10 days?
yes.
Maybe you should go to a graveyard or something like that.
Well, like I said, that was my idea to do something because I wanted to do
I think it's cool. I think it sounds like fun.
I wanted to do a week-long investigation with something I don't have to leave my house to go do because I don't have a car, I don't have transportation. So
Yeah.
this brought the ghost hunt to me,
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Also
Nothing wrong with that.
Also the other thing too, haunted object versus, the actual spirit involved with that. So
Yeah. You know what? I'm on the fence about haunted objects, to be
haunted
honest.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I find it intriguing, yes, but I do have a lot of questions when it comes to objects.
Right.
And I just don't see the reason why. And I know all the stories and I know all the things that people say that when it comes to object is because maybe somebody loved it or something like that. I don't know. I find it very difficult. Like lately I've been seeing a lot of this online recently is dolls. The haunted doll thing.
Right.
I'm not saying it's not possible.
Yeah, but
I'm
not
just
out there is haunted.
I'm just finding it very, very difficult that a doll is haunted. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm one of those people that have to really see it firsthand.
Right.
You
And
know?
that's basically what I'm trying to do is try to actually investigate it to see what I may find and may not find. That's the whole point of me doing this. It's just to
Of
see
course.
what I get. I really don't have zero expectations of what I will or will not get. It's only an hour a day, out of my life that I do. I don't do anything here at home anyway. I'm pretty much bored 24/7 anyway. So I can
Yeah,
take a
there you
little
go.
bit of time to, do that for an hour out of my time to investigate something that may give me a better understanding of not only my own abilities, but maybe I will, maybe I won't communicate with that spirit. But even if I get nothing, it's still me trying it and diving into it for the first time. That's what it's more about than anything.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of having a haunted, and I'll be doing it in my sacred space. So I'll be doing it in the space where I hold ritual and I do for my Wicca faith as well. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that about you.
yeah. So I'm a Wicca.
Interesting.
I have a sacred space that's basically right behind me, and I'll be doing my investigation in that room. I also have 2 ghost children that I'll be trying to communicate with as well. So
Okay.
I'm doing that as well. So I'm not just
N-
going to be doing haunted objects as well.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. If
Uh,
you started getting responses,
right.
is it coming from the object or is it coming from the kid spirits?
Right. And that would be the question that I'm trying to actually figure out and
Yeah.
try to
Okay.
see if I can get any cooperation, from that,
I get
like,
it. I get it.
so, it's just me playing around, trying a couple of different little things that I've always wanted to try. I don't have the big fancy equipment. I have to go old school. I have to go with the cat toy and, the pendulums and the dowsing rods and stuff like
Hey, listen, I'm very old school.
that. Right.
I'm not big in the fancy gadgets like the REM pods, the SLSs. I'm
I
not
think
into that stuff, you know.
the
I'm
base,
I like my voice recorder. I like my SB7 and I like my camera.
right,
And every so often I'll use the FLIR, but not very often.
right.
Those are the real that's really what I use, those three things: the camera, the voice recorder, or the SB7. Those
Yeah.
are my go-tos all the time.
And I'll
And
also be using myself too, because I
yeah.
have the ability to be a kind of a natural psychometry. So I'll
Okay.
be doing a little bit of psychometry with that as well and seeing what I can get. So
Cool.
it's kind of trying a couple of different things that, like I said, I've always wanted to try to see if, and then I go back and say, okay, when I was using psychometry, I got this. Can you verify any of that? When I was using the pendulum, was this name right? Was that this thing more? Was
I
this
get
thing
it.
able to kind of see how accurate or how close to the actual thing I did? Because, like I said, I didn't want to know anything about it before I got them. So even if like I said, I have absolutely nothing happen, I don't get anything at all. Well, then maybe I've proven the fact that they weren't haunted. The spirit was more with them, not with the object.
I get it. I
So
get it.
that's kind of what I thought I'd be working on. I thought it would be fun. Like you said, I'm just gonna have some fun with it and see what I do.
And that's it, man. That's it. That's all you need to do is people and I know there's going to be teams out there that are going to be very serious about this. And
Right,
great, there's nothing wrong with that. But just remember, this is about having fun too.
right,
And getting your teams recognized because this is going to be going everywhere.
right,
So it's giving them their 2 hours of recognition that they deserve. And there's a lot of teams out there that deserve what these teams are going to be getting with the Global Ghost Hunt. So
So, I guess my other question: will there be a compilation after this, kind of showing what you found during the Global Ghost Hunt and how the experience was, or is it all just going to happen live and that's it?
well, what we're going to do for the teams afterwards, and I uh, really took some time to really think about how I was going to for the team or for the teams, and they do their event and that's it, it's done. I wanted to do more than that. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to ask the teams to give us a 10-minute clip of their investigation. And what they'll do is they'll go over to YouTube. If they have a YouTube channel, they'll upload it to YouTube. They can put it public if they want, or they can put it private. They're going to send us the link, and then we're going to create a page on the website that we're going to put that link there, and we'll have a specific page for investigations that people can go through all the different types of investigations, watch some of the investigations, and hopefully they will want to watch the rest of it, and they will go over to their YouTube channel and hopefully subscribe. So subscribe to their channel, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube. So we're planning on doing that for the teams. So that way it's always going to be there. It's not going to go away. And hopefully over time, what we're hoping that we're going to have is a directory, which means that they'll go to that page and they'll select the letter B and see all the B teams, and they'll see all the videos, and the videos will be like 10 minutes long. So 5 to 10 minutes long. So they'll click on the video, they'll watch the video, and hopefully they can go over to their YouTube channel and hopefully subscribe to their channel and watch the rest of the video. So that's what we're planning on doing with the teams after the first one. We'll be doing it after every single Global Ghost Hunt. So I really was trying to think on what I was going to do for the teams after the event was done. And that was the best idea that I came up with. I think a lot of people like it. And because right now the Global Ghost Hunt website, the Google Analytics is telling us that the website is getting thousands of views a month. and hopefully, not only during their live investigation, hopefully when they go over to the website, they'll see their video there. And it's just about, it's just about getting those teams out there.
So one of the things I'm wondering is like, is there anything else that people can look forward to during this global ghost hunt that we haven't already covered? I know you have some merchandise that people can buy too,
Yep.
and I know there might be other things that people might want along with this as well. Maybe, like you said, some sponsorships or things that are happening within that as well. Anything like that happening with it?
Well, I know some of the investigations that are going to be put on. They're going to be events happening with those investigations. So that's something to look forward to see what an event looks like. If nobody's seen an event at a haunted location, it might get it might inspire a team to put on an event for themselves and for their team and for the location that they're investigating. And, so I think that's something to really look forward to see the events that are going to be put on. But other than that, it's about people seeing the locations that they've never seen before. And I'm talking about across the pond, and people over across the pond looking over here in North America and seeing locations here that they've never seen. I know we're going to have our first Canadian team for October. So they're going to be able to see some Canadian spots. So I know on the site right now we're having teams looking at the site from Germany. We've had teams from Asia. We've had teams from Sweden. We've had teams from New Zealand looking at the website. So we're getting teams all over the world looking at the website, and I'm hoping, the rest of the team is hoping that we're going to have some Asian countries join, because there's some incredible places out in the Asian countries. I'd love somebody from Japan to join, to maybe even do a video through Suicide Forest.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that one would have to be taped or recorded because you wouldn't be able to get live through the forest there. But I'm really hoping we get Germany. I'm hoping we get Switzerland and New Zealand and all those countries joining as well, because I'm sure there are a lot of people as fans or people that are interested in the paranormal would love to see the locations out there. So it's only the beginning, Joshua. It's only the beginning on what's going to happen.
So I know that this is also going to be done through the Parapost Network and your personal network as well,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
So can you tell me a little bit about Parapost and the Parapost Network as well?
The app or the Facebook page?
Both.
Okay. So Parapost Network Central started because of the Parapost app. So I started the Parapost app a couple of years ago. It's going on 2 years in June. It'll be 2 years. So Parapost Network, the app, was really generated from me and a friend of mine who's no longer with Parapost anymore. I came to him with the idea of wanting to start a social media site for everything under the paranormal. I just found a lot of times where I'd go to Twitter, I'd go to Facebook, I would go to, wherever, Instagram, whatever, and just have a difficult time finding things that I was interested in. Especially when it came to the paranormal or anything. And yeah, you could find it, but you had to really search for it.
Right.
So I came up with the idea, and I went to a buddy of mine. I said, what do you think about a social media site for everything under the paranormal umbrella? He goes, I love it. So that's where it began. And I tell you, it's one of those things I said before the show. If I knew then what I know now, yeah, I might add second thoughts. But it's been Parapost Network has been great. It's been a lot of work. We had some real difficult times at the beginning. We've had some difficult times throughout, but we're getting there. And so the real goal was to get it to the stage where we could have live streaming on the page.
Right.
So that's my ultimate goal.
Cool.
Eventually what I want to do is I want to get my own platform. Yes, it's a platform right now, but it's not a platform built from scratch. It's
Right.
already a platform that's basically been, templated.
Right.
So I want to get to the point where it's going to be like the Facebook. It's going to be like oh, where did I go?
Lost you.
Oh,
No,
uh-oh. I know what it is. Don't worry.
look,
Let
where's
me
he
just do
at?
this.
Are you
Let me
there?
just do this. Here we go. Sorry about that. Oh, wait a minute. It'll come back in a minute. I don't know why it does that. It's been doing that recently. It's been doing that. I don't know why it's been doing that. But anyways, so so eventually what I want to do is I want to get its own platform like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then we'll have live streaming on it.
Right.
And so people can do their investigations, they can show their vodcasts and all those things. The great thing about it right now, what I do like is if you do join Parapost, you can actually attach your YouTube to Parapost. And then every time you upload a video on Parapost, it automatically, or every time you upload a video on YouTube, it automatically uploads on Parapost. And really, we're the only site that was doing that. Now, things have changed a little bit because other people kind of copied us what we were doing. So that was that. So I created that app, and it's been doing well. It's going on its second year, and it's building, it's growing like I hoped it would. Now, the reason I came up with Parapost Network Central is because I had this page and I didn't know what to do with it. And it was called Parapost Network. And I think I had 125 people following. And that was a year ago, a little over a year ago. So one weekend I was trying to think of what am I going to do with this page? It's not growing. I got to do something different. And that's where the idea came up of vodcasts, all kinds of different vodcasts going on the page, and people's shows, and because I was going through Facebook, I was going through the timeline, and I noticed a lot of people had some fantastic shows. They just weren't getting the notification that they deserve, or the not the notification. They weren't getting the viewers. They weren't getting, I'd be watching a podcast that had two people in the room, one person in the room. It had nobody in the room. So I decided this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a vodcast page. And that's what I did. So my method to my madness is that once I built this page and once I got live streaming on Parapost Network, the app, I'm going to bring everybody from this page over to Parapost Network so they can start streaming on there as well. So they can get more viewers, more pages to stream to. And that was really my method to my madness when it came to Parapost Network Central. So that's where it began.
And I know you have your own paranormal investigative team too. And please forgive me for not remembering the name of it, but it's
it's me.
Huntophobia?
It's me. It's Huntophobia. Yeah.
Oh
yeah. It's just me. I generally collab with other people. I used to have people, but I'll be honest, it was really hard getting everybody together at once. And it seemed to be a struggle all the time. I have the luxury of being able to go out anytime I want, but some people don't. And if I went to investigation, either they were late or they didn't show up. And it just got to a point where I said, you know what, I'm just going to do this on my own, and I will collab with other people. And that's what I've been doing for the last almost 2 years.
So what got you into the paranormal in the first place?
Well, it's interesting because when I was 9 years old, I discovered I was able to see things other kids couldn't see. So I have the sensitive abilities, so I'm able to see them. I'm just not able to hear them or see facial features. So really what I see is like a black blob or a black shadow. And I can tell if it's male or female just by gut. but I was seeing things kids weren't seeing. So I really started getting into it more when I was about 14 or 15 years old. I had my very first experience on being touched, and that's where it really all began for me. I went out on my first investigation about 10 years ago with a local paranormal team, and I was going out with local teams. And then I just decided to do it on my own during COVID. And that's where I came up with Huntophobia. And I guess that's what, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
3 years ago? Yeah, three
That's when
years
this
ago.
that's when this show started. It was about 3 years ago.
Oh, really? Okay. So yeah, so it started about 3 years ago, and been having a lot of fun since, I guess. And it's been an interesting experience to say the least.
Like the Jawshow has evolved from its very beginning. It was more of standalone episodes because they couldn't find people to come on and be on my show first. Then I started doing a lot. Once I kept it going and kept it going, getting noticed a little bit more. Then I had to do my own homework and try to find the people I wanted on my show. You know, it's a social issues kind of a show. Usually, this is kind of a special episode. Normally, I would ask you like that. You'd come to stop my evil plan. Today, we're just going to shoot it straight and tell people about what they can really expect here because this is something that I've been very passionate since I was a young boy. I can hear them and I can see them in my head, but I don't see them physically, like view them in that way. That's how
it did. That really changed for me when I went to the UK last year because I was starting to hear them. I tell everybody this, and I've been saying this since I came back from the UK. UK is completely different from North America. The energy levels are completely different. As soon as I stepped off that plane, it felt completely different than it does here in North America.
Right.
And I found that my abilities got a little bit stronger in a way that I started hearing them a little bit more. I started seeing a little bit of facial features. I've had a couple of mediums reach out to me and say that basically they think the reason why I'm unable to hear them and see them, their facial features at least, is because of all the negativity I got when I was growing up.
Right.
So that's really blocked a lot of what I've been capable of doing. Because I've had, like I said, I've had a couple of mediums reach out and they go, "You have no idea how strong you are in your abilities." And really, I don't, because I don't know how to shut it off or turn it on.
Right.
If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
So
it sounds like you're more of a natural. You just when it comes to you, it comes to you. It's not something you force. It happens in its right time. When you feel like that communication is happening with you, then you kind of go into focus mode. And then you go back to normal life.
Yeah, like I say this story a few times. Like a couple of years ago, I was standing on the balcony at my old place because I moved last year, moved to a new place. A couple of years ago, I was just sitting on the balcony and I saw a spirit going down the street. And all of a sudden it was on one side, and then literally boom, a split second, it was on the other side of the road. And I would see that all the time. Like I went into a restaurant and I was eating and I saw this waiter and he was being followed. A spirit was literally almost attached to him and walking with him everywhere. And it ended up being his mother. And, so again, it's like, sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't. And I wish I could turn it on and I wish I could turn it off because there's times where I don't want to see it. You know what I mean? So it's difficult. And I don't think that I've had a lot of mediums reach out and, a couple of mediums reach out and say, you know what, we can help you. We can help you. What's the word I'm looking for? We can help you. I guess polish it. Yeah. I guess we can help you get better at doing what you can do. But you know what? I'm happy where I am and with it. So,
because everybody's has a different way of perception of those things. My way of perceiving something, whereas I kind of see a little movie play in my head sometimes. It shows me what their life was like, what they kind of look like, but I don't see them in a physical sense of going, I saw a shadow run down the hallway. I have seen that stuff, but I don't see that a lot. I'm not as strong with that stuff as I have been touched myself. So, I've had those experiences. So I had experiences with the paranormal, but it hasn't always been the most prevalent thing in my life. It kind of comes and goes like you. I've learned how to hone it a little bit over the years, but most of the time, when I feel it come, and then I just allow it to happen, and then I see from there. Like I said, I haven't quite used my skills for ghost hunting yet, so I'm just starting to creep into that field a little bit. So,
It's funny. It's I, as much as I can do when it comes to the sensitive abilities, I haven't been touched that much. The last time I was touched, the last time I was touched was at White Hill Mansion last year in New Jersey. That was the last time I was touched, but again, I don't get touched that often, and I don't think it happens as much as people say it does, to be honest.
yeah,
But it's interesting because when and you're talking about what you see and stuff like that. When I see something, and this is where the blocking happens for me. When I see something, the first thing when I see it, I hear that negativity in the back of my head, because I grew up in a time where if you were talking about seeing spirits and stuff like that, you were considered a crazy person.
Yeah.
And you belonged in a loony bin. Well,
Yeah.
I think that's the way my parents felt or my family felt. And so every time I would see something, and even now in the back of my head, I'm saying to myself, that's not real. That's not real. That's not real.
Right.
And we know it is. But that negativity pops up, and that's where it gets blocked. And maybe if I didn't have that issue, maybe I would be able to hear them. Maybe I would be able to see their facial features, but I can tell right away if it's a guy or a girl right off the bat.
That's amazing. Like I said, one of the things that I feel that I can do with my abilities is that I have that ability to kind of see what kind of journey they've taken up to a certain point, and then I can see kind of like what happens sometimes in their lives or afterlives and stuff like that. Like I've had some relatives or some people who I've known personally who've come to see me myself, and been able to interact with people I know very well, So I felt their spirits be with me a lot more. But it's the random spirits, I don't always know or I'm doing what I'm doing with it. I started when I started, my mom didn't deter me. She told me I wasn't crazy. She told me that there are things in this world I can't explain. So my way I grew up was a lot bit different, but I still thought I was crazy. I still thought maybe there was something wrong with me. So I had to learn to get past that baggage before I could open up my abilities to be where they are today, And depending what I'm using them for,
Well, it's interesting because when I was growing up, it was, you were considered crazy. I never thought of it being crazy. It's just I heard those words so much. I never really believed that people were crazy. It's just, people around me were saying it's crazy. It doesn't necessarily mean I believed it. It's just when you hear it so much,
right,
growing up, and especially in the 70s,
right,
it was just, there were no books. Even
right.
you go to the library and you might find one book on ghosts, and it might not even have been factual. It could have been a fiction and a book, but there was just nothing around. So it was more about experiencing things when I went to different places all the time and talking to friends or talking to some people that were in the industry. But at being 9 or 10 years old, you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean because I had that. We have same but different stories.
Yeah.
So, well, I really want to thank you for coming on to the show today, Brian, because you've helped us kind of see what's going to be coming up for the Global Ghost Hunt, and
Thank
you've
you.
given us that opportunity. So I want everybody out there to remember to go to globalghosthunt.com May 4th through the 14th. They have a varying different things scheduled, so be sure to check out the schedule and see what kind of groups you may want to participate. And please give your attention to those locations, and also give the credence to whatever else may be gotten during that time.
Yeah, and I will let you know it's going to be on 8 different pages. So it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on Twitter. It's going to be on Facebook.
All right.
It's going to be everywhere.
So it's going to be available a lot of different places.
Yeah, you're going to see it everywhere. You're going to see it everywhere. So
well, I personally can't wait. I personally can't wait to hopefully be a part of the second one.
I hope so.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to do my best to you get maybe a team together, even if it's just me and my wife going out there and doing something, and then we just got to find a location, you know?
Yeah, there you go. That's it. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we even have some people. I think we have 2 or 3 teams that are going to be doing graveyards.
Right.
So, it doesn't matter what you do as long as you have fun doing it and showcasing yourself and showcasing the location. And that's it. And again, it's about having fun.
Right. So I just wanted to say thank you once again for coming on to the Jawshow
you.
today and allowing me to be a part of it.
Thank you.
And allowing me to join the Parapost Network and be a part of that.
And welcome. And welcome to Parapost Network, man.
Yeah. So we will be putting the Jawshow will now be on the Parapost Network. We're going to be working out some of the things that we'll be doing. But and I'll put all of my episodes on that during that week as well, so that you can have the availability to those too. So if you want to come check me out on one of my days when I'm doing my investigation, you're more than welcome to.
I will, for sure.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for being here today. I would like to say thank you to all of my guests for being here today. Don't forget to check me out every Friday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. This has been my friend Bryan J Laverty for the Global Ghost Hunt, and I would like to say hello and farewell. Goodbye. Hello.